I'm not gonna lie, when the McFarlane Collector Edition figures were announced, I thought that it'd be something I could easily skip. I thought it'd be like a lot of repaints, maybe. Instead, Wave 1 is debut appearance Superman, which I needed to have, Alan Scott, which I can't wait to track down, and Wave 2 has friggin' Sinestro, the one character I've been complaining about not having all this time. So, yeah, I'm kind of digging Collector Series so far, I don't know if you can tell, and I can't wait to actually talk about this guy. You guys know I'm a Superman fan, you know that he's my number one guy, but I've never had a debut appearance figure of him before, and this is scratching an itch. Getting this guy out of package, and I'll be honest, this is spectacular. I adore this figure. I mean, just look at it. Now, granted, this isn't a Superman design that we're used to nowadays, especially that shield. That is a pretty tiny thing, but keep in mind, this is supposed to be what he looked like on the comic. Now, there is a thing I want to point out, because I saw a few people talk about this online. He doesn't have red boots, and the shield is a little small. But then the cover of Action Comics #1, the one that you have on the card, bigger shield, red boots. So a lot of people were saying that this is an inaccurate figure, but that's not really the case. You see, one, this figure has a variant, and that variant matches that design. But there's also the fact that inside the comic book, Superman used this design with the different shield and the different boots. I don't know which of these came first. I don't know if, like, the cover is the older design or the redone design, but they are different. And even though we have this one in the back that kind of went on to be the iconic debut costume, this is technically more accurate to the actual Action Comics #1. So it's a bit of a pick your poison kind of situation. Personally, I like this. I want the variant too, but that's because I'm a psycho. But let's talk about some of the great things about it. A great thing right off the bat is the head sculpt. Now, I know it looks like his eyes are closed, but he's actually squinting in there. You can just barely make out his pupils. And that's because, for some weird reason, for the first few decades of Superman existing as a character, he was always drawn with his eyes closed. I've seen a few reasons for this. The big one is basically Superman was designed to display what was considered traditional masculinity, and at that time, I suppose the idea of having smaller eyes was to convey being a little bit older and a little bit more wary of things, and that's also why you have the lines around the mouth. He looks a lot older than most Supermen do, and that's because Superman was kind of drawn to be an older guy. Like nowadays, he's like in his 20s. Back then, he was meant to be more like in his 40s. He was meant to be a man, a Superman. And for anyone curious why he has the really bad design in Justice League Season 1, the cartoon, it's because they were trying to emulate the original design for Superman's face, which was lines around the mouth, squinty eyes. It looks really bad. Alongside the colors that just pop, you also have the windswept cape. This really will make him stand out on a shelf. The only other figure that has a cape like this in my collection is Eradicator, and that cape is way different. It's a lot more dramatic and kind of stylized. This just looks like there's a slight breeze picking up the cape, and I really love it because it really gives him kind of a natural curvature. You could really work this into your articulation to really help utilize the windswept cape to give him perhaps a little bit more of a action pose, or a pose that looks a little bit more natural than if the cape was just going straight down. Let me try to get the feet down there. There we go. And that's a Superman ready to go 12 rounds with, who would it have been back then? Well, I suppose it'd be the Ultra Humanite. I mean, he is the oldest Superman villain, right? One of, at least. Alongside Superman, we do get a few accessories. We get the collector card, of course, but it has this stand, which actually looks pretty cool. And on the back, there's just the backstory of Superman. You know, I think we all know the basic gist, doomed planet, crashed on Earth, loving parents, small town, Superman, pretty simple stuff, pretty universally known. And here's a fun thing. You do get the typical stand that all the figures get, but in the first for me, you also get the flight stand. And this is a stand I constantly want with the McFarlane figures because I think it's the best flight stand in domestic toys. And yet, it feels like it's so rare to get. So, seeing these two together, it makes me hope maybe the collector edition figures will always come packed with a flight stand. The box is a good bit bigger, seemingly to accommodate that. So, If that is indeed the case, that is spectacular. And of course, the flight stand, you plug it in, you open it up, and then we can plug our Superman in there. Actually, how do I want to pose Superman? Maybe more like that. Yeah. Of course, we need to angle him for the cape to make sense. Apology, guys. You're just gonna have to watch me play with my dolls for a sec while I figure out the pose I like. That's decent. Ooh, that's not very stable, though. Maybe if we took it more like that. Haha. Now that, I'm actually pretty happy with. I might keep him in that pose and, like, have this just right next to it. Yeah! Oh my god, yeah. That's totally how I'm gonna pose this guy. Okay. I'm sorry. I just need to play around for a sec with my dolls. You also get this chain. It goes around his torso. You saw him packaged with it in the box. It doesn't look good. I don't like it. You wanna know what I would have rather had? Was, alternate hands. I think that would have been better to have, like, 2 fists or 2 open hands or, something like that. But, everything said, you do get a lot for this guy. Do you get $10 more than other McFarlane figures more? I mean, the figure feels heavier. The joints feel tighter. I think the QC's a bit better. But really, what you're getting, optically, is an extra stand and a stand for the card. This pains me, dude. This pains me to say it because I'm really digging this figure. I don't think it's worth $30. I don't see how it could be. If it had alternate hands or more heads or more points of articulation or more accessories, totally. But, is that $10 worth of extra plastic? I feel like I've seen bigger accessories come with, like, Vampire Joker came with that big hammer. That can't be that much more plastic. So overall, I hate to say it, I say wait for this guy to go on sale, because it is a spectacular Superman, and I'm really loving it. It is blowing my mind just how much I'm liking this, because I thought I would like it, right? I didn't think that I'd be, like, just giddy posing it on a flight stand like I am. But it's not worth the upcharge. It really isn't. Good figure. Great figure, even. Wait for it to go on sale. And, then I think this guy's totally worth it. If this guy was 20, hands down, go out, buy it now. If this guy was 25, steeper, but I could deal with that. But $30? No.